Hello everyone. Welcome to the Unit 4 of Week 5 discussion. In this unit, we will extend our discussion from the last unit and we will try to understand that how do we design good quality constructed response questions. So the unit outcome is that you'll be able to discuss the principles for designing valid, reliable and fair constructed response questions. So before doing that, let us try to again revisit the principles of validity, reliability and fairness. So if the assessment item assesses what it intends to assess, we say that it is a valid assessment item. Similarly, if we are getting consistent results, if the assessment is repeated under similar condition, then we say that the assessment is reliable. And if the assessment is free of any bias, then we say that the assessment is fair. So basically the question which we are trying to answer is that does the assessment ensure that no group of student is advantaged or disadvantaged by its design, which means it is fair for all the students. So let us try to understand this with an example. So on your screen, there is an example which is from the topic DC circuits, and the program outcome and the course outcomes are mentioned. So the course outcome is analyze and explain the behavior of DC circuits using fundamental electrical laws. So the cognitive level of this course outcome is analyze. So let us take one assessment item from which will help us in assessing the attainment of the desired course outcome. Okay. So what is the assessment item? A student observes that two different DC circuits, each containing the same voltage source and total resistance, draw different currents. Explain how this situation is possible by referring to the circuit configuration and current distribution. Okay. So from this item, it is very clear that the assessment item is valid because both the cognitive abilities that are there in the course outcome, which is about analyzing and explaining, or both these cognitive skills are getting assessed in the assessment item. Similarly, the content domain is behavior of DC circuits and also fundamental electrical laws. So that being the condition of the course outcome. So all of that you can see that it is getting very well assessed in this particular assessment item, because in the first part the student is analyzing, while in the second part of the question student is also able to explain. Okay. So now coming to the definition of validity, if the assessment item actually measures what it claims to measure, yes, it is actually measuring what it intends to assess. So this is an example of valid assessment item. Along with this, there are certain other measures that also need to be kept in mind while designing valid assessment items. Okay. So first and the most important aspect is the item assessing the desired course outcome. Okay. So we have just seen an example and we have seen that how what kind of assessment item should be designed so that it assesses the attainment of the course outcome. The second is the information in the STEM factually and conceptually accurate. So if the question itself is inaccurate, then from the student's responses, it is very difficult to understand if the student has attained the desired course outcome or not, because the question itself was incorrect or the question itself was ambiguous in nature. So that also, this also aspect can compromise the validity of the assessment item. The third is if the STEM avoid complex, ambiguous or any sort of tricky language. So it should be very clear and it should be understandable by all the students. Otherwise, it might happen that student is not able to respond or give the right answer because the STEM was inaccurate. The question STEM, the question itself was not so clear to the student. So in that case, again, we will never be able to get valid evidences of students' learning because probably student has not attained the question or student has not attempted the question because the question itself was not so clear. The last is the stimulus necessary, relevant and useful to answer the question? So sometimes we also have some stimulus. So by stimulus, I mean it can be a graph, it can be a diagram, it can be a table, it can be some data that is provided. So all these stimulus should be relevant. So sometimes the stimulus is added in the question, and if it is irrelevant, then student gets distracted, and probably they might lose out some time in understanding that why the stimulus is there along with the question, right? And again, it will compromise the validity of the assessment item. So all these four aspects should be kept in mind while designing a valid constructed response question. Coming to the reliability. So as far as formative assessments are concerned, the meaning of reliability is very different. But as far as constructed response question is concerned, which is probably used for summative purposes, the meaning of reliability is little different. So here we are understand the meaning of reliability in terms of the marking scheme. So if we have a very comprehensive, a very detailed marking scheme, probably we'll be able to design a reliable constructed response question. Because even if the question is very good, okay, question is also aligned to the course outcome, question is free of any ambiguity, the stimulus is very relevant. So if all the checklists are met as far as question is concerned, and if we do not have a very well detailed marking scheme, during that case, probably again we are compromising the validity, because how do we actually know on what basis or on what criteria we will be assessing students' responses? So having a good quality and a comprehensive and a detailed marking scheme is a must mandatory requirement for ensuring reliability of constructed response question. We will see through an example. So for the same example, if we try to identify the criteria, so probably the first criteria, and suppose the question is of 5 marks. So how do we distribute these 5 marks? Okay. So probably the first criteria is identification of circuit configuration. So probably a student is able to correctly identify that different configurations, for example, it can be series or it can be parallel or any kind of arrangement, okay, how does it affect the circuit behavior? Okay, so if this particular concept is clear to the student, okay, so basically this aspect is dealing with the analytical aspect which is there in the course outcome. The second is conceptual explanation of the current behavior. If a student is able to explain how the current distribution depends on the circuit configuration and not just the total resistance, right? So how the resistance are connected, that also affects the circuit behavior if a student is able to understand. So 2 marks are allocated to it. Similarly, in this case, student also need to defend their position using certain laws, right? So if the student is able to appropriately refer to any suitable law, it can be Ohm's law, it can be Kirchhoff's laws, any of these, right? If a student is able to relate the justification with the laws, right? Now, you see that there is some kind of a step marking, okay? And if we have this kind of a comprehensive marking scheme, then all sort of reliability issues such as inter-rater reliability or intra-rater reliability. So if 2 raters are evaluating students' responses or 1 rater is evaluating student response at a different time, in both these situations, if we have a comprehensive marking scheme, we will be able to reach to a consistent conclusion about students' understanding or students' attainment of the course outcome. Okay, so having a good quality marking scheme ensures reliability in the constructed response question. So again, we have a certain checklist for ensuring reliability the way we had for validity. So in this case, since now we are only dealing with the marking scheme, we are defining reliability in terms of the marking scheme. So first of all, the clear cut direction should be provided to reduce any sort of subjectivity in the marking scheme. That is the first criteria. The second is there an alignment between the cognitive process expected to attempt an item and the cognitive process expected in the solution as provided in the marking scheme? So what does this indicate? That say in the question it is expected that student is required to apply the analytical abilities, as well as students should be able to explain, right? So these are certain expectation in the question. So are the criteria which are included in the marking scheme, are those criteria um, aligned to the expectation in the question, right? So if you see, if the criteria in the marking scheme are very well aligned to the expectation. So we are expecting students to analyze and we are giving 1 mark. We are expecting student to provide some sort of a explanation and allocating 2 marks to it. And the ability of a student to back up the arguments with respect to certain laws or certain theories. So even that aspect is given 2 marks, right? So there is a close alignment between the expectation from the question and the kind of criteria that are defined in the marking scheme, right? So both these aspects need to be checked while designing the marking scheme for constructed response question. The third quality aspect is with respect to the fairness. In this case, we are trying to assess if the item is inclusive and representative in nature. We are also seeing, does the item avoid reiterating or representing anything that is regressive in nature? And the last is, does the item contain controversial information or any misinformation which can be contested in a socio-political, cultural or historical context? So basically all these three checklists are related to any sort of bias that is there in the constructed response question. So with this set of checklists, probably you will be able to design good quality constructed response question by having a very clear stem, also the marking scheme, the stimulus. All of these aspects should actually be validated and should actually be reviewed with respect to this particular checklist. So in our last unit, we will try to discuss about assignments, and we will try to discuss about one specific kind of assignment which is authentic in nature.